This story is part of our reporting for the People, Power, and Democracy Project, a multimedia collaboration between New Mexico PBS, KUNM, New Mexico In Depth, and the New Mexico Newsport. You can find more information on the campaign finance legislation we covered this week and our other stories for the People, Power, and Democracy Project on our website, newmexicoinfocus.org. I'm Gene Grant here at the table with this week's Line Opinion panelists. Another bill making its way through the legislature is House Bill 211, a proposal that would prevent New Mexico cities and counties from enforcing their own labor laws on private employees. It has the backing of many state businesses, but in the mayor's here as well, but is opposed by many Democratic lawmakers. A major issue is that the bill would no longer allow New Mexico cities and counties to set a minimum wage higher than the state's $7.50 an hour. Now, as it stands right now, for example, Las Cruces is at $8.40 an hour. Albuquerque is at $8.75. Santa Fe, as you might know, is at $10.84. And Martha, backers of the bill, including Albuquerke's Mayor Richard Berry, as I mentioned, say that different local wages make it hard to recruit businesses here. Is that a red herring to you? Do you hear something legitimate in that? Because there's only 3 municipalities here that have higher minimum wage. Can it be that much more difficult?
I think it's a total red herring. Mm-hmm. I think some people believe that low minimum wages are going to help the economy. Mm-hmm. Actually, what they're going to help is public assistance money that is being spent. But Gene, I think there's a much larger issue here than just the minimum wage, and that is preemption laws. Because once the legislature starts preempting local laws, we're going to see it everywhere. Already in Texas, they've done it on fracking. We've got a fracking issue right up here in Rio Rancho. What is to keep them from saying you can't, as a city or a municipality, ban fracking? We have it in 43 states. You cannot, as a city, regulate the use of pesticides on city property, on private lawns, runoff in the streets. You can't regulate it because Big Chemical has come in and preempted at the state level all those local laws. So this is a bigger issue than just the minimum wage.
Vicki, let me go across the table to you. I appreciate Martha's point about who gets affected by this. How could you make a case, not you, but how can the case be made out there that lowering people's annual money in their pocket is better for the economy? Could you make sense of that for me? I'm having trouble sort of seeing this.
Well, I don't think you can, and I think that the problem is, as you say, it's very different to live in Santa Fe versus Santa Rosa. And I always, when this bill came up and I started thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute. Our legislators get paid per diem. They get paid more per diem in Santa Fe than they do other parts of the state.
Good point.
So if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I think that is, can you imagine what our state legislature would say if the federal government came in and told them, oh, here, X, Y, and Z. We are different communities. We may be one state, but the idea that local communities cannot pass laws, I'm totally with Martha. When I look at these bills, I don't even look at the minimum wage issue. I look at this preemption issue, which I think is very much a concern for people who want to have some sort of local control over their communities. Otherwise, why do we even have local governments? And especially, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have a ballot initiative process at the state level. We do in some of our municipalities and counties, and that's what needs to happen for people to be involved.
Folks are opposed, as I mentioned, Dan, the mayor of Santa Fe, a lot of other people. Again, I ask again, what are we solving here? If business wants to come to New Mexico and do a business statewide, you have staff for that. You have people for that. You have employees for that. It can't be that difficult to manage 3 municipalities in their minimum wage. Could it be?
But Gene, I think there's a greater issue that's being discussed about the minimum wage. For instance, if you look at what the minimum wage has done in Santa Fe, it's been a disaster. It's been a disaster. And the example I give you every time, I was up there just the other night, drive through McDonald's, there's no dollar menu at McDonald's. So, what we've created is we hear the conversations about minimum wages. The far left likes to talk about living wages. $7.50 an hour is not a living wage. $10 an hour is not a living wage. If you're a single parent or a parent with children or a married couple and you're making $10 an hour, that's not a living wage. The issue about preemption, though, is it's a valid discussion. And I think it's important. And I firmly disagree with some of the examples that were given to the table. You cannot operate oil and gas businesses, major industries, knowing that if I cross this line, I got a whole different set of rules in New Mexico than if I stay on this side of the
Let me stop
line.
you right there. Why can't you?
Because
Why
that's
do you
not
say
the
you
way it
can't?
works. Because
of course you can.
No, Gene, but
businesses do it all
no,
day
they don't.
long.
But see, Gene, that's
all
no,
day
Gene,
long.
Gene,
They
you
have people
Gene,
that
you
manage
like to make
these
these
things.
blanket statements. You've never worked in oil and gas.
I'm answering your blanket
No,
statement.
I'm not. I'm
It
giving
is
you
not
perfect
do-
examples. It's
Go ahead.
extremely difficult. Gene, it's extremely difficult to put together an oil and gas operation and know that I have to hire certain people to do certain jobs in Cibola County that I don't have to hire in Eddy County, but I got to do it differently in Chaves County. It's an unbelievable problem to do.
Why is that a problem?
Because it changes the cost of doing business dramatically.
That's how business works, Dan. It's okay.
No, Gene, see, that's what you're missing. It works when you have understandable options that you can operate in. Going from city to city, county to county is far more troublesome to a business than going from state to state. And having the ability for these states to do this
Let me get
stuff.
Mark in here real quick. Sorry, Martha.
Well, you know, really, there's two competing bedrock principles, I think, at play here. One is, you know, do local governments have the right to govern themselves? And, you know, for a lot of good government people, the answer to that's yes. But then the other question, you know, the point Dan's making, let professionals manage their own business. So teachers tell us we're testing too much. Why don't we listen to them? You know, bankers are saying there's too many rules and regulations, Dodd-Frank and all this. It makes it hard to loan money. That's a detriment. That's one of the reasons why the economy is not reviving. The business community, economic developers are telling us, listen, the minimum wage is creating a problem in terms of procuring
The
businesses.
unemployment numbers are telling us that also.
Why don't-
Look, hold
we-
on a minute. I've yet to see proof that this is stopping any business from coming here.
Absolutely.
I've never heard one article, nothing. That, not to disrespect you, Mark, but
Yeah.
it just seems like we're trying to solve a problem that
You're
there's no
ignoring the
problem
facts,
there.
then. You're ignoring the facts. The unemployment rate in Santa Fe is out of control. The University of Kentucky did a study on the minimum wage in Santa Fe. They did a national study, and it's been a disaster. But I know you don't want to hear that stuff because that doesn't fit the model of what you guys want to advocate.
Because
you don't like the
speak to
facts.
some of the experts
You don't-
in this
you don't
field.
like the facts.
And some of the experts are the folks working for $7.50 an hour.
That makes
Let's
them the
talk
expert
to
in the
those
field.
experts
point.
and see what kind of effect that has on the economy. Now, you think that it's going to stimulate business, but what I'm telling you, LA has just put in a requirement. I love this. They are going to publish how many people work for the large employers on the minimum wage that are also on food stamps and Medicaid. And that is tax dollars that's a direct subsidy to big business that does not want to pay fairly. And if we want to do experts, let's talk to some of those folks that are trying to work for that wage.
And somehow $7.50 to $9.50 takes them off those government. It's not true.
But isn't it a fact?
factually
So let's
incorrect.
go for
Let me go to-
I know, but see,
$15.
that's
Well,
what you want.
that's
You
true.
guys want to go to $30 an hour, but then you want to say,
I'll
well,
take
those same
15.
people,
I'll take
fine.
15.
At $15 an hour, you're going to raise the price of eggs, you're going to raise the price of milk, and then you're going to be sitting here saying, well, we got to pay people more for that. It's the fact that you guys don't understand simple economics, and that's okay. Your economics are driven by a philosophical, political belief. That's fair. That's your right. The experts discussing this are not someone that makes $7.50 an hour. That may be a stark difference between you and me. You think someone making $7.50 an hour is an expert talking about economics. I think the guys that invest billions of dollars, millions of dollars, the economists that have degrees, the universities that do this stuff, those are the experts, and none of them agree with
The
me.
results are mixed.
No, they're not. They're not. I never said I was voting for Trump, but if you want to advocate for someone,
don't talk over me.
Hang on, guys. Hang on. 1 minute left. We'll give it to Vicky. Hang on a second. Go ahead, Mark. Go
The
ahead.
other
You
point
first.
here is, should workers really be relying on government to increase their wages? Okay, so
Or should they rely on government to keep wages intact and not have them drop? Who can afford a 30%?
in Santa Fe, there's
Let me ask you this, Mark. Who can afford a 30% drop in their annual income overnight? I don't care if you're making $750,000 a year. No one can handle a 30% drop in their income without having repercussions all over the state.
You guys
it
are
seems to me.
advocating for taxing the 1%
I understand
more
that,
than
but there
30%
are other
overnight.
ways
They
to
can survive.
generate income into your household, and that's the point I'm making. So you have 100 people up in Santa Fe lobbying politicians for a pay raise. What about getting more education? What about becoming an entrepreneur, starting a small business? What about finding another job? What about lobbying your employer for a pay increase based on your merits? I mean, there are other
But we're
ways
talking
to
about
make more
minimum
money.
wage people here. We all know what that means,
They're the
though.
experts.
You know, we all mean. Finish for us, Vicky, if you would. We got a minute left here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the level of rhetoric and snottiness as driven itself way up in the studio for my first time on here. I don't think it's that, I don't think we're that divisive. And
Right.
that kind of rhetoric is just making things worse for our state. And the idea that we can't understand that it costs more money to live in Santa Fe than it does in Raton is crazy to me. I think that is just as obvious as it could possibly be. And I think unemployment is a problem obviously all over the state. There's no one panacea that's going to fix everything. But like Mark says, you know, we've got teachers telling us we're being tested too much. Let's listen to people. Let's listen to the businesses. But, you know, as Chris Rock always says, you know, when you get paid minimum wage, that's your boss telling you, I'd pay you less if I could.
There you go. Let's finish with that. A Chris Rock reference. Not bad. Up next, The Line discusses concerns over funding for behavioral health services.